The Odyssey drifted silently through the Zythera Nebula, a swirl of violet and silver clouds stretching endlessly in every direction. Stars shimmered like scattered diamonds, casting pale light on the sleek hull of the ship. Captain Elias Ward sat in the command chair, his eyes tracing the curves of the nebula on the display screen. It had been a quiet day. Too quiet. For his liking. "Captain," said Lieutenant Rena Jet, breaking the silence. "Our sensors picked up an unusual object ahead. It's moving. Slowly. But it doesn't match any known human vessel." Elias leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "Show me." The display zoomed in on a small, irregular craft, drifting as if it had no power. "It doesn't look hostile," he muttered. "Prepare a boarding team. I want to know who or what is out there." The crew moved efficiently. The airlock hissed open, and a group of humans suited up in standard EVA gear. The boarding shuttle detached from the Odyssey, gliding silently toward the alien craft. Elias watched, holding his breath, feeling the familiar mix of fear and curiosity that always came with first contact. When the shuttle docked, the crew cautiously entered the alien ship. The interior was unlike anything they had seen. The walls shimmered with a soft light, and faint patterns shifted across the surfaces, almost as if the ship itself were alive. Floating plants drifted gently in zero gravity, and small, luminescent creatures glided along invisible currents. From the shadows, a figure emerged. Elias froze. She was beautiful. Not in the way humans thought of beauty. Exactly. But in a way that made every instinct in his body pause. She had long, slender legs that glowed faintly, her skin a soft shade of lilac, and large eyes that shimmered with a mix of curiosity and intelligence. Her hair floated around her head like liquid silver. "Hello," she said, her voice musical but soft, almost echoing in the empty chamber. Elias found his voice. I'm Captain Elias Ward of the starship Odyssey. Are you okay?" She tilted her head, considering him. "I am fine. I am Lyra." There was something playful in her gaze, something human, in a way he didn't expect. He wanted to reach out, to study her like a specimen, but he remembered his own words. Humans were not explorers who conquered, they were humans who learned. I must say," he began awkwardly. "Your legs. They are beautiful." Lyra's eyes sparkled. She let out a soft laugh, the sound like wind chimes. "Beautiful?" she asked. "I have something prettier. Want to see?" Elias blinked, caught off guard. "Something prettier?" "Yes." She raised a hand and gestured to a compartment in the ship. "Follow me." The crew exchanged nervous glances, but curiosity won. They followed her through narrow corridors that twisted in impossible ways. Gravity shifted slightly as they moved, making their steps floaty, like walking on air. Finally, they reached the compartment. The door opened to reveal a chamber unlike anything human technology had ever created. Bioluminescent plants grew from the walls, glowing in shades of blue, green, and gold. Tiny, floating stars hovered mid-air, casting gentle light on everything around them. The floor, if it could be called that, was a transparent surface with a glowing liquid beneath, flowing like a river of light. Lyra stepped to the center, and as she moved, something extraordinary happened. Along her spine, delicate patterns began to glow and shift colors. The luminescence spread, like a river of light traveling over her body. Elias could hardly breathe. It was mesmerizing. "This," she said softly, "is my prettier part. It shows who I am, not just what I look like. It protects me, helps me survive radiation, and it grows when I feel curious or happy." The crew stared in awe. Lieutenant Jet whispered, "It's alive." Elias nodded, feeling a mix of wonder and humility. Here was a being whose very body had evolved to meet challenges humans had never faced. He realized then how small and fragile human understanding seemed in comparison. Yet, he also felt something familiar: curiosity. That same drive that made humans reach for the stars. Lyra tilted her head, noticing his gaze. "You are curious," she said. He smiled. "That is true. Humans are curious." Her glow shifted to soft pinks and violets, a subtle dance of light. Elias felt a strange warmth, as if the glow wasn't just physical, but emotional too. "Curiosity is good," she said. "It leads to understanding, and understanding is beauty." The crew began asking questions carefully, respectfully. How did her species survive? How did the ship operate? How did she communicate without what humans considered tools? Lyra answered with patience, explaining that much of her species' technology was organic, grown rather than built, and adapted to the universe itself. Elias listened, fascinated. He realized humanity's strength wasn't just physical, it was the ability to learn, to adapt, to admire beauty and intelligence beyond their own species. HFY wasn't about proving superiority. It was about embracing curiosity and courage. After a while, Lyra floated closer to him. "Do you wish to try?" she asked, gesturing to the glowing liquid floor. Elias hesitated, then nodded. He stepped carefully onto the surface. The light seemed to welcome him, adjusting to his weight. The glow along Lyra's spine brightened as she moved beside him. "You see?" she said. "Beauty is not a single thing. It is motion, light, thought, life. It changes with every moment." Elias laughed softly, the sound full of relief and excitement. "I think humans can learn a lot from you." She tilted her head, considering him. "And you? What do humans have that I can admire?" He looked around at the crew, at the floating light and the strange plants. Then back at Lyra. "The human mind," he said finally. "Our curiosity, our courage, the way we keep trying even when the universe is impossible. That is something pretty too." Her glow pulsed with a soft golden light, almost like a smile. "I think I like that answer," she said. The rest of the day passed in wonder. The crew explored the alien ship with Lyra as their guide. They saw rooms that defied gravity, walls that responded to thought, and tiny creatures that communicated through color and vibration. Every step, every discovery, reminded them of how vast the universe was, and how fragile, yet brilliant, human understanding could be. When it was finally time to return to the Odyssey, Elias felt a pang of hesitation. "Will you stay?" he asked softly. Lyra floated to the airlock. "I cannot leave my home," she said. "But I can teach you. And perhaps, one day, you will return." Elias nodded. "Then I hope we do." As the shuttle detached, he watched Lyra's ship drift slowly, glowing softly in the nebula light. He thought about the words she had said, "Prettier part," not just legs, not just appearance, but life itself. Humanity had met something extraordinary, and in that moment, he felt proud, not of strength, not of conquest, but of human curiosity, courage, and the willingness to see beauty beyond themselves. Lyra's voice came over the comm before they lost signal. "Remember, beauty is everywhere, even in small humans like you." Elias smiled, shaking his head. "I'll remember." As the Odyssey set course back to familiar territory, the nebula behind them seemed to pulse with a life of its own, as if acknowledging humanity's first step into a wider, more wondrous universe. For Elias, and for the crew, it was the beginning of an adventure they would never forget. An adventure not of power or conquest, but of curiosity, admiration, and the beauty of discovering life beyond their own understanding. And somewhere, far away, Lyra watched, her spine glowing softly, her thoughts filled with quiet amusement at the tiny, strange, and beautiful creatures called humans. The Odyssey hummed softly as it drifted back toward open space. Elias Ward sat in the command chair, staring at the stars outside the viewport. But his thoughts weren't on the stars, they were on Lyra. Her glowing spine, her graceful movements, and the wonder of her world kept replaying in his mind. Humanity had met something extraordinary, and he knew there was far more to learn. "Captain," Lieutenant Jet said softly, "I've reviewed the scans from her ship. The biology, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. The glowing patterns, they're alive, not just skin deep, but functional. It's almost like a second nervous system, or maybe even a sensory system we can't comprehend." Elias nodded slowly. "Humans think we know what life is. But maybe we've only seen a tiny part." The next day, the Odyssey returned to the coordinates Lyra had indicated, where her ship had remained stationary near a small asteroid cluster. This time, Elias and a few crew members were to accompany her on a more extended journey to explore her home system and learn firsthand about her species. The airlock hissed, and Lyra floated toward them, her spine glowing softly in anticipation. "Welcome back," she said. "I will show you something you will never forget." Elias smiled. "We're ready." The journey through the asteroid cluster was smooth, though the crew had to maneuver carefully around massive floating rocks. Lyra guided them with ease, effortlessly dodging debris, her body moving gracefully, glowing softly in the dim light of distant stars. Every move seemed purposeful, every gesture an expression of her unique biology. Finally, they reached a larger asteroid, hollowed out and shaped into an organic-like city. The walls were translucent, allowing the crew to see inside, trees and plants floating in mid-air, small luminous creatures darting between them, and structures that seemed to grow naturally rather than being built. "Welcome to our home," Lyra said. "This place is alive. Every plant, every structure. It communicates. It helps each of us survive." The crew stepped inside, their boots floating just above the glowing floor. Elias was captivated. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "And it feels alive." Lyra nodded. "It is alive. And it is safe. You must understand. Human curiosity is strong, but not all life can be trusted." Elias smiled. "We understand." Lyra guided them to the central chamber, a vast dome filled with glowing water-like energy, floating plants, and a soft, melodic hum that resonated in the bones. At the center, she paused and turned to face them. "This is the heart of our home," she said. "It shows who we are. And now, I will show you my prettier part." The glow along her spine intensified. But this time, it wasn't just patterns, it moved outward, creating delicate, shimmering wings of light that seemed to float above her shoulders. They flickered in colors humans had no names for, shifting constantly, responding to her thoughts and emotions. The crew gasped. Lieutenant Jet whispered, "It's incredible." Elias felt a mixture of awe and humility. He had studied alien biology in theory, but this was life expressed in its purest, most beautiful form. It was not just functional, it was art, communication, and adaptation, all in one. Lyra smiled faintly at their reactions. "This is how we survive radiation, extreme temperatures, and low gravity. Our bodies grow with our environment. But beauty is part of who we are. Life is beautiful. Adaptation is beautiful. Curiosity is beautiful." Elias stepped forward, careful not to startle her. I think humans can understand that. We've always looked at the universe and tried to learn, even when it was dangerous, even when it seemed impossible." She tilted her head. "Yes. Curiosity is strong in you. I can see it. That is why I trust you here." The crew spent hours exploring. They floated through chambers filled with plants that glowed when touched, watched small creatures that changed colors to communicate, and learned about Lyra's species' unique way of sensing the environment. They were amazed to discover that each being's glow told a story. Its health, mood, and even memory were visible in patterns of light. "Every individual carries knowledge in light," Lyra explained. Our history is not written in books. It is in us, in the glow we share. Elias marveled at the concept. Humans wrote history on paper or data storage, but here, life itself was the record. The Odyssey crew watched carefully as Lyra's glow shifted when she moved toward the floating plants. They began to understand that humans had much to learn, not just about survival, but about how life could express itself beyond physical form. Later, as they floated in a quiet chamber filled with soft blue light, Elias asked, "Lyra, why did you show me this? Why share your prettier part?" "Why?" She considered him for a moment. "Because I can trust you. Because I can see that humans have something beautiful too. Not in appearance, but in mind. You are brave, curious, and willing to admire life without controlling it. That is rare. That is beauty." Elias felt warmth spread through him. He realized that HFY, the pride in humanity, was not about power or dominance. It was about courage, curiosity, and the willingness to learn and respect. Humanity might be small in the universe, but it could shine brightly through understanding and exploration. "Can humans learn this?" asked Lieutenant Jet. Lyra's glow pulsed softly. "Yes, but learning takes time, patience, observation, and a willingness to change." Elias looked at his crew. He saw wonder, hesitation, and excitement in their eyes. "Then let's learn," he said. "We came here to explore. This is the best kind of exploration." Lyra smiled faintly and floated closer. "Then I will guide you. You will see more than you ever imagined. But you must remember, curiosity alone is not enough. You must respect what you find, you must adapt, and you must care." The next several days passed in a flurry of discovery. The crew practiced floating in the luminescent fields, learning to synchronize their movements with the environment. They watched creatures that communicated through light, learning to recognize patterns and respond. And they observed Lyra's species as they adapted to environmental challenges, their bodies glowing brighter as they moved and thought. Elias noticed that, though humans could not glow like Lyra, they could still observe, adapt, and understand. They could marvel at the universe, and in that marvel, they could shine. Humanity might be fragile, but its mind, its curiosity, its courage that was beauty. One evening, Elias and Lyra floated in the central chamber together, away from the rest of the crew. "Do you ever get lonely?" Elias asked. Lyra tilted her head, her glow softening. "Sometimes, but I am not alone. And now, I see that humans can be friends too. You are strange and small, but your mind, it shines." Elias laughed softly. "I'll take that as a compliment." "You should," Lyra said, her glow pulsing warmly. "Because your kind can surprise. Curiosity is not just a trait. It is power. And power can be beautiful." As they drifted among the glowing plants, Elias felt a sense of pride and hope. Humans had traveled across space and met life far beyond their imagination. They were small, yes, but they could learn, adapt, and shine alongside others. The universe was vast, but human courage and curiosity were just as boundless. Lyra's glow shifted gently as she studied him. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "I will show you something even more extraordinary. But for now, rest. You must remember the universe is full of beauty, but you must be ready to see it." Elias nodded, feeling excitement and wonder. He realized that humanity had only taken its first step into a greater universe. And with allies like Lyra, there was no limit to what they could discover. As he floated back to the crew's quarters, Elias looked out the translucent walls at the glowing city around them. Stars shimmered through the structure like diamonds, and the creatures of Lyra's species moved gracefully in the soft light. He smiled, knowing that humanity had met something beyond imagination, and that the adventure, the true adventure, was only beginning. The stars outside twinkled in silent acknowledgement, as if the universe itself was waiting to see what humans would do next. And Elias, captain of the Odyssey, felt a spark of pride. Humans were small, yes, but they could learn. They could adapt, and in doing so, they could shine as brightly as any star. The days passed quickly on the alien asteroid. Elias Ward and his crew had adapted to the strange, flowing gravity of Lyra's world. But each day brought new wonders. The glowing plants seemed to respond to their presence. The tiny, luminous creatures darted playfully around them, and Lyra's light continued to shift and pulse in response to her emotions and thoughts. Elias had never felt more alive. Each moment was a lesson in curiosity, in patience, and in seeing beauty beyond what humans had ever known. "Captain," Lieutenant Rena Jet said one morning as they floated near a cluster of glowing vines, "I think I'm beginning to understand what she meant. The way these creatures and plants react. It's like the world itself is alive. And it's teaching us." Elias nodded. "Yes. And humans can learn faster than I expected. Our minds are flexible. We notice patterns. We adapt. That is why Lyra trusts us." Lyra, hovering nearby, watched them with quiet amusement. Her glow shifted through soft blues and purples, indicating curiosity and pleasure. "You humans are strange," she said softly. "You have no natural glow, yet your minds shine brightly." Elias smiled. "That's our gift, I suppose. We rely on curiosity, courage, and cooperation to survive. Not on glowing spines or wings of light." Lyra tilted her head. "Yet you survive, and learn, and grow. That is beautiful. Come, I will show you something new today." She guided them to a wide chamber at the edge of the asteroid, where the walls shimmered with a silver hue, and the floor was a reflective surface of liquid light. Floating in the center were spherical creatures, each glowing faintly and rotating slowly. "These are our memory spheres," Lyra explained. "They record history, emotion, and knowledge. Each being contributes to them. They are alive, and they remember everything." Elias stepped closer, fascinated. "So, these spheres are like books or computers?" Lyra shook her head. "No. They are more than that. They feel. They adapt. They respond to thought and emotion. You can learn from them, but you must approach with care. Curiosity without respect is dangerous." Lieutenant Jet floated closer to a sphere and extended her hand. The sphere reacted, glowing brighter as it rotated toward her. Images appeared within it, luminous forests, alien creatures, and scenes of Lyra's species thriving in harsh environments. The crew gasped at the beauty and complexity of it all. Elias reached out to another sphere, and as he touched it, he felt a rush of understanding, not just knowledge, but emotion. He felt the struggles and triumphs of Lyra's people, their joys and fears, their connection to the living world around them. For the first time, he truly understood what it meant to be part of something larger than oneself. This is incredible," Elias whispered. "Humans have never experienced anything like this." Lyra's glow pulsed softly, almost like a smile. "That is why I share it with you. You must learn not only with your minds, but with your hearts. That is the human strength I admire. You can understand without controlling. You can marvel without destroying." As the crew explored the chamber, Lyra showed them other wonders. Plants that could shift their shape to shelter small creatures, streams of light that flowed like water but could be touched and molded, and floating orbs that emitted soft music in response to thought. Elias noticed that the crew was not just observing, they were interacting, experimenting, learning. They moved carefully, respecting the delicate balance of the environment. He felt a sense of pride. Humanity was capable of adaptation, understanding, and respect. Later, Lyra led them to a quieter part of the chamber, where the walls were lined with soft, glowing filaments. "This is a place for reflection," she said. "Here, you can meditate, observe, and connect with life around you." Elias sat cross-legged on the reflective floor, watching the soft light ripple beneath him. Lieutenant Jet and the others joined, floating in quiet contemplation. For a while, there was only the gentle hum of the chamber and the soft pulse of Lyra's glow. "Captain," Jet whispered, "I think I understand now. Humans are small, yes, but our minds, they can shine. We can adapt, learn, and respect life in ways even more amazing than we realized." Elias nodded. "Exactly. That is why HFY is not just pride in strength. It is pride in understanding, in courage, and in curiosity. And we are only at the beginning." Lyra's glow shifted to soft green as she approached him. "Tomorrow," she said, "I will show you how we move through the universe, using more than technology. You will see how life itself can be a guide, a protector, and a teacher." Elias's heart raced. He had expected alien technology, perhaps a few tricks, but not this. He had never imagined that learning from life itself could be so beautiful, so practical, and so inspiring. That night, the crew gathered around a floating cluster of small, luminous creatures, each pulsing with gentle light. They learned to communicate with them, noticing patterns and responses that depended on emotion, patience, and attention. It was slow work, but each success brought quiet satisfaction and awe. Lyra watched silently, her glow brightening with each step of progress. "Humans," she said softly, "you are capable of more than I expected. You may be small, but you can shine. You can adapt. You can learn to see beauty in ways your kind has never known." Elias smiled. "And you, Lyra, are teaching us not just about survival, but about seeing life itself differently. About respecting what we cannot control." Lyra tilted her head, her glow pulsing a soft violet. "Yes, that is why I trust you. You will see that the universe is full of challenges that require more than strength or courage. They require understanding, connection, and cooperation. You are ready for the next step." The next morning, Lyra led the crew to a massive observation deck, overlooking the nebula beyond. Stars swirled in clouds of color, asteroids floated like scattered jewels, and distant planets glimmered faintly. "Look closely," she said. "The universe is alive. Every particle, every star, every world is connected. Life is not just what you see, it is what you feel, what you understand, and what you respect. Humans can shine here, if they learn to see beyond themselves." Elias felt a deep sense of purpose. Humanity had traveled across space seeking knowledge. But this was beyond what he had imagined. He realized that true strength was not in conquest or dominance, but in curiosity, respect, and the courage to learn. Lyra's glow shifted again, brighter this time, forming patterns that danced like waves. "Tomorrow," she said, "we will leave the asteroid and explore a larger challenge. You will see how humans and my kind can work together in ways neither of us could do alone." Elias nodded, anticipation stirring in his chest. He understood now that humanity's journey was not just across space, it was a journey of the mind and spirit. They were small, yes, but capable. They could adapt, they could learn, and they could shine alongside the most extraordinary beings in the universe. As the crew rested that evening, floating gently in the soft glow of Lyra's world, Elias felt a deep connection not just to the alien environment, or to Lyra herself, but to the universe at large. Humans were explorers, yes, but they were also learners, observers, and admirers of life in all its forms. And in that realization, Elias knew something remarkable. Humanity could face the universe not with fear, not with force, but with courage, curiosity, and respect. That was what made them strong. That was what made them beautiful. The stars outside the observation deck shimmered as if acknowledging this truth, and Lyra, floating silently nearby, pulsed softly in golden light. A quiet smile of approval for the small, strange creatures who had learned to shine in their own way. Elias leaned back, looking at the stars and feeling hope. The adventure was far from over. The universe was vast, full of mysteries and challenges, but humanity had something powerful, curiosity, courage, and the will to learn. Tomorrow would bring new tests, new wonders, and new lessons. And Elias knew, without doubt, that humans could rise to meet them, shining brightly even in the darkest corners of space. Lyra's voice came softly in his mind, carried through the subtle connection they had formed. You are ready, Elias, and your kind will surprise the universe. Gnome, he smiled. Yes, humanity was ready, and so, the crew of the Odyssey, guided by Lyra, prepared for the next stage of their journey, one that would test their minds, their courage, and their ability to shine in ways they had never imagined. The Odyssey and Lyra's ship drifted toward a region of space unlike any the humans had ever seen. The Zythera Nebula stretched before them in swirling colors of violet, blue, and gold. But beyond the beauty, there was danger. Sensor readings showed massive energy fluctuations, unusual gravitational waves, and pockets of unstable radiation that threatened both ships. Captain Ward, Lieutenant Jet said, scanning the readings, this anomaly is growing. If we don't act carefully, it could expand and affect nearby star systems, including yours and Lyra's home. Elias nodded, determination flashing in his eyes. Then we prepare. This is why we came here, to face challenges and find solutions. Lyra floated beside him, her glowing spine pulsing with soft light. This is not just a challenge of strength. It requires thinking, coordination, and trust. Humans are ready, I think. You will see your mind's beauty today. Elias allowed himself a small smile. He had seen humans adapt, learn, and shine in ways even he had not expected. Now, that potential would be tested. The anomaly was closer than it appeared, a massive swirling rift in space, twisting light and energy into chaotic patterns. It pulsed, a dangerous storm threatening to consume everything in its path. Lyra's sensors indicated that parts of the rift were reactive, almost alive. Any careless move could destabilize it further. Elias took a deep breath. All right, team. We've learned a lot from Lyra. Now it's time to put it into action. Follow her guidance and trust your instincts. Humanity has a chance to shine here, not with force, but with intelligence. The crew moved carefully, floating through the shifting gravitational currents that the rift created. Lyra's ship moved alongside them, her glowing patterns reflecting and amplifying the light of the anomaly. The humans had learned to interpret her glow. It indicated safe paths, warnings, and even potential strategies. Elias, Lyra said softly, the rift reacts to energy patterns. It is unstable, but it can be stabilized. Watch closely and adjust as needed. The first attempt involved using energy harmonics. Lyra emitted pulses of light from her glowing spine, influencing the rift subtly. The humans followed suit, using the Odyssey's sensors and careful energy manipulation to mimic her patterns. The rift shifted, trembled, and for a brief moment seemed calm, but it was not enough. The energy waves intensified again, thrashing unpredictably. Crew members tightened their grips on support bars, and Elias's heart raced. Stay focused, he called. Remember what we learned. Observe, adapt, coordinate. Lieutenant Jet floated closer to the control panel, adjusting the ship's energy output to match the rhythm of Lyra's glow. It's responding. We can do this. Lyra's wings of light expanded, shimmering in response to the humans' efforts. Yes, your mind. It is beautiful. Do not panic. Trust your understanding. Trust each other. Elias realized then that the challenge was not just about science or technology, it was about teamwork, patience, and perception. Humans had always relied on ingenuity and collaboration, and here, those traits were their greatest assets. The rift pulsed again, stronger this time, throwing the ship slightly off course. Elias steadied himself, giving precise commands. All crew, synchronize with Lyra's pulses. Adjust frequency, not force. We match life with life, not push against it. It was delicate work, Every adjustment required observation, prediction, and adaptation. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the rift began to respond. Its chaotic pulses slowed, colors shifted from violent reds and purples to calmer blues and greens. The crew felt a wave of relief. They were making progress. "You are learning quickly," Lyra said, her glow pulsing warmly. "Humans, you shine, even when the universe is harsh." Elias felt pride swell in him. Humanity had always been underestimated, often seen as fragile or weak. But here, in the heart of a cosmic storm, they were proving that their minds, their curiosity, courage, and ingenuity were their true strength. Hours passed as they worked, carefully stabilizing the rift. The crew coordinated seamlessly, interpreting Lyra's glow, adjusting the Odyssey's energy fields, and using human intuition to predict the rift's movements. The dangerous waves of energy began to calm, forming stable patterns that no longer threatened the surrounding star systems. Finally, with one last pulse from Lyra, the rift shimmered gently, its swirling chaos replaced by soft, harmonious light. The ships floated safely. The nebula's colors reflected calmly across their hulls. The danger had passed. Elias exhaled slowly. "We did it," he said, voice tinged with awe. "Humans, we actually did it." Lyra's glow shifted to golden light, brighter than before. "Yes. You learned. You adapted. You shone. Not with force, but with understanding. That is beauty." The crew gathered around, floating in the calm after the storm. Lieutenant Jet looked at Elias, eyes wide with amazement. "Captain, we just faced a force that could have destroyed entire systems. And we stabilized it. We worked with life itself." Elias smiled. "That's what humans do. We explore. We learn. We adapt. That is our strength." Lyra floated closer, her glow shifting softly to indicate warmth and approval. "And now, humans, you understand something important. Strength is not just about power. Beauty is not just what is visible. True power comes from curiosity, courage, respect, and understanding. You have all of these in abundance." Elias nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride, not for himself alone, but for all humanity. They had traveled across the stars, faced the unknown, and proven that even small, fragile creatures could rise to meet incredible challenges. As the nebula shimmered peacefully around them, Lyra spoke again. "Tomorrow, we will return to my home asteroid. There, you will see how humans and my kind can continue to work together. The universe is vast, and challenges will grow. But you, humans, have shown that you can shine brightly, even in the darkest places." The crew of the Odyssey floated in quiet contemplation, letting the lessons sink in. They had faced one of the universe's greatest threats, not with weapons, but with minds and hearts. They had worked alongside a being whose very biology seemed magical, learning not just science, but empathy, patience, and the beauty of cooperation. That night, as the ships drifted safely within the calm nebula, Elias reflected on the journey so far. Humanity had met life beyond comprehension, learned to respect it, and had proven that even fragile humans could make a difference. The stars outside twinkled gently, as if acknowledging their achievement. Lyra floated nearby, her glowing wings of light shifting in soft patterns. "Humans," she said quietly, "you are capable of much more than you know. You have shown me curiosity, courage, and ingenuity. That is why I trust you. That is why I will continue to teach you." Elias felt a swell of hope. He realized that humanity's adventure was far from over. The universe was full of mysteries, challenges, and beauty. But humans had something special. The will to learn, the courage to try, and the mind to adapt. That was what made them extraordinary. "Thank you, Lyra," Elias said softly, "for trusting us, for teaching us, for showing us what's possible." Lyra tilted her head, her glow pulsing softly. And thank you, humans, for showing me what curiosity and courage can do. Together, we will explore wonders beyond imagining. As the crew rested, Elias gazed out at the calm nebula, thinking of the journey ahead. They had faced the unknown and survived. They had learned from life itself, and had proven that humanity's greatest strength lay not in brute force, but in ingenuity, courage, and understanding. Tomorrow, they would continue their exploration. But tonight, they rested in the knowledge that humans could shine brightly, even in the most dangerous corners of the universe. And somewhere far away, the stars themselves seemed to sparkle a little brighter in acknowledgement. Elias smiled, heart full of pride. Humanity had truly met the universe, and it had proven that even small creatures could leave a shining mark on the cosmos. The adventure was far from over. But humanity was ready, and with allies like Lyra, and the lessons they had learned about curiosity, courage, and cooperation, they could face anything the universe would throw at them. The stars twinkled silently, and Elias knew one thing for certain. Humans, though small, could shine brilliantly, even among the endless galaxies.